Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to crack open the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
But not just for a casual read.
Right.
We're going deep into a debate about whether it should be seen as like a metaphysical representation of the self.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Metaphysical roadmap to understanding you.
You heard that right?
That's right.
A metaphysical roadmap to understanding you.
So fascinating, right? To really get to the heart of this, we're diving into a counterpoint debate.
Okay.
We've got opening statements and rebuttals from both sides.
Okay.
We'll hear the arguments and how they clash.
I've always seen the Bible as a historical and religious text. So to kick us off, how does the pro-metaphysical side see it differently?
Well, they believe that the Bible is overflowing with symbols and metaphors,
Okay.
pointing to truths about our inner world. It's like those picture books where you see one image, then suddenly realize it's something else entirely.
Okay, so less about historical facts and more about uncovering hidden meanings.
Yes.
About ourselves. I'm curious, what kind of examples do they use to back that up?
One of their big ones is the Garden of Eden.
Okay.
They see it not just as a garden, but as a representation of pure consciousness. That state of wholeness we all supposedly start with.
So the fall from Eden is like us losing touch with that.
Yeah.
Inner peace and clarity. I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
But are there any other examples?
Absolutely. They point to the phrase, I am,
Okay.
especially how it's used by God and Jesus. They connect this to our own I am.
Okay.
The idea that we all have this divine potential within us, just waiting to be unleashed.
Interesting. So are you seeing how this interpretation suggests the Bible is less about historical events and more about unlocking your own spiritual potential?
Yes, exactly. And they go even further, highlighting figures like Paul and Jesus, their radical transformations, Paul's sudden conversion, Jesus' resurrection, are seen as models for our own spiritual awakenings.
So it's not just reading the Bible.
Right.
It's letting those stories inspire you to make big changes in your own life.
That's the idea.
Okay.
They even suggest that Jesus' journey of life, death and resurrection, could be seen as a guide to our own spiritual rebirth.
Wow.
It's like the Bible becomes a mirror, reflecting our own potential.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing not everyone buys into this whole
Right.
Bible is self-help guide idea, right?
You're absolutely right. The other side of this debate, those who are anti-metaphysical have some serious reservations about this approach.
Okay, lay it on me. What are their main concerns about this whole metaphysical reading of the Bible?
Their biggest worry is that by focusing too much on self, you miss the whole point of the Bible's message about God.
Okay.
They argue that the Bible's primary purpose is to guide us towards a relationship with the divine.
It's not just self-discovery.
So they're saying that this inward focus might make people too self-centered and lose sight of the bigger picture, the relationship with a higher power.
Exactly.
Okay.
They fear that by overemphasizing the self, you risk losing sight of the communal aspect of faith.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other concerns they raise?
Well, they also worry about the potential for subjective interpretations. Without a solid framework, they fear the Bible could become like a personal choose-your-own-adventure.
Right.
With everyone picking and choosing what resonates with them.
I can see how that could be problematic.
Right.
If there's no agreed-upon interpretation, the Bible could lose its power as a source of shared beliefs and teachings. What else worries them?
They emphasize the historical and cultural context in which the Bible was written. For example, they point to Exodus. They argue it's not just about personal liberation,
but about the real-life liberation of a people from slavery.
So they're saying that we can't just treat the Bible as a personal development book. We need to understand its historical and social significance.
That's right.
Okay.
They argue that the Bible stories address real-world problems and speak to a collective human experience, not just our individual journeys.
We've heard both sides lay out their initial arguments, and it's already sparked some serious food for thought.
Yes.
But this is a debate, so where do we go from here?
Now we dive into the rebuttals,
Okay.
where each side addresses those points head-on.
Right.
Buckle up. Things are about to get interesting.
Okay, deep divers, we're about to see those intellectual sparks fly. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back.
We'll be right back
To unpatch these counter-arguments.
Yes. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're in the midst of this heated debate
Yeah.
about whether the Bible should be read as a metaphysical guide to understanding ourselves.
It's like watching two intellectual prize fighters going head to head. And you know what?
Yeah.
Both sides are landing some solid punches.
Absolutely.
Before the break, we heard their opening arguments, and now I'm eager to hear how they counter each other's points.
Let's dive right in. The pro-metaphysical side first needs to address these concerns about individualism.
Right.
Remember, the opponent argued that focusing too much on the self could lead people to ignore the communal aspects of faith.
Right, like they might get so caught up in their personal interpretations that they forget about their responsibility to their community.
Exactly.
So how does the pro-metaphysical side respond to that?
They argue that personal transformation and a strong sense of community can actually go hand in hand.
Okay.
They believe that by deepening their understanding of themselves through the Bible, people can become more connected to their faith community.
So they're not saying you have to choose between personal growth and community. You can have both.
Exactly. It's like when you learn something new and exciting, you naturally want to share it with others, right? They argue that a deeper understanding of the self, inspired by the Bible, can lead to a deeper connection with others who share your faith.
That's a compelling point.
Yeah.
It flips the script on the idea that self-exploration has to be a solitary pursuit.
Right.
What else do they say?
They also address the concern about the Bible being bound to a specific time and place.
Okay.
The opponent argued that we can't ignore the historical and cultural context.
Right, like the example of Exodus being about a real historical event, not just a metaphor for personal freedom.
Exactly. But the pro-metaphysical side pushes back, arguing that the Bible's wisdom transcends time and place. They say it speaks to universal truths about humanity that are just as relevant today as they were centuries ago.
So they're saying that even though it was written in a different era, the Bible still has the power to speak to us on a deep personal level, regardless of our background.
Precisely. They see those timeless truths woven into the fabric of the Bible's narratives, offering guidance and insights that can help us navigate the complexities of our own lives, even thousands of years later.
Okay, so the pro-metaphysical side has presented some thoughtful counterpoints.
Yes.
But now I'm really curious to hear how the opponent responds. Do they back down, or do they double down on their concerns?
They absolutely stand their ground while acknowledging the potential for personal growth through reading the Bible. They caution against putting too much emphasis on the self. They reiterate that the main message, the overarching theme, is about humanity's relationship with God.
So they're saying, yes, introspection and personal growth are important, but don't lose sight of the bigger picture connecting with a higher power.
Exactly. They're concerned that getting too caught up in personal interpretations could lead people to miss the essential theological truths the Bible offers. They believe the ultimate goal is to understand our place in the divine order, not just focus on our individual journeys.
It's like they're saying, by all means, use the Bible for personal reflection. But remember that it's ultimately about something much larger than ourselves. Now that we've heard both sides of the rebuttal, I'm more intrigued than ever. What happens next in this intellectual sparring match?
Now that we've laid out the core arguments and the rebuttals, it's time to step back and consider the implications of each perspective. What happens if we really commit to one side or the other? What are the potential benefits? And what are the possible pitfalls?
Let's start with the pro-metaphysical side. If we embrace the idea that the Bible is a guide to understanding ourselves, how does that change the way we approach it?
It transforms the Bible from a historical or religious text into a mirror reflecting our own inner world.
So it's less about taking the Bible literally and more about finding personal meaning and guidance within its pages.
Precisely. It becomes less about dogma and more about self-discovery. Remember the Garden of Eden? Through this lens, it's no longer just a physical place.
Right.
It represents a state of inner wholeness that we all long to reclaim.
It's like the Bible becomes a personal roadmap to enlightenment, helping us find our way back to that original state of pure consciousness.
Exactly. And remember how they talked about the I am?
Yeah.
Well, now it's not just about God's divine identity.
Right.
It's also a reminder that we carry that same spark of divinity within ourselves.
So instead of seeing the Bible as a set of rules or historical accounts, we start to see it as a source of personal empowerment.
Yes.
Urging us to embrace our full potential.
That's one way to put it. And remember those stories of transformation, like Paul's conversion and Jesus' resurrection.
Yeah.
They become examples of our own potential for radical change.
Okay.
Showing us that incredible shifts in consciousness are possible.
It's inspiring to think that we have that power within ourselves to overcome limitations and become the best versions of ourselves. But even though it sounds empowering, I can't help but think back to the opponent's concerns.
Right.
What are the potential downsides of approaching the Bible solely through this lens?
That's an important question. And the opponent raises some valid points.
Yeah.
They worry that this intense inward focus could lead to a kind of spiritual narcissism.
Right.
Where people become so fixated on their own journey that they lose sight of the importance of community.
So it's like they might become so focused on their own personal interpretation of the Bible that they forget about their responsibilities to their faith community and the value of shared religious experience.
That's right. And there's also the concern about subjective interpretation. If everyone is creating their own personal meaning, it could lead to a fragmentation of religious understanding instead of being united by shared beliefs.
Right.
People could end up speaking different languages, even though they're reading the same text.
I can see how that could be problematic.
Right.
It's like everyone is following their own internal compass.
Yeah.
And there's no common direction.
Right.
What other concerns does the opponent raise?
They also worry about losing sight of the historical and cultural context. Remember, they emphasize that the Bible was written in a specific time and place, addressing real-world issues. They're concerned that a purely metaphysical reading could make it seem like a purely personal and subjective text, detached from the realities of the world.
So they're saying that we can't just read the Bible as a self-help book.
Right.
We need to understand its historical roots and how it relates to social and political issues. It sounds like both sides have strong arguments.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly struggling to reconcile them. Where do we go from here?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's one that we'll explore further as we continue this deep dive.
Deep divers. We're going to take a moment to let all of this sink in, but stay tuned because when we come back, we'll tackle the final question.
Yes.
Can we find a way to appreciate both the historical and the metaphysical dimensions of the Bible?
That's right.
We're back for the final round of our deep dive into the Bible. And I have to say, this debate has really opened my eyes.
Yeah.
It's like I'm seeing the Bible with a fresh perspective.
Right.
Recognizing layers of meaning I never considered before.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? We've explored the possibility of the Bible as a metaphysical guide.
Right.
Unpacking the symbolic language. Those compelling stories of transformation.
Right.
And even the idea of Christ as a representation of our higher selves.
But we've also grappled with the potential pitfalls like the danger of becoming too self-focused.
Right.
Getting lost in subjective interpretations.
Yeah.
And forgetting the Bible's historical and social context. It's a lot to balance.
It certainly is. And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. It's not about finding easy answers.
Right.
Or declaring a winner. It's about broadening our understanding.
Okay.
And maybe even walking away with more questions than we started with.
Okay, so no easy answers. But as we wrap up, is there anything we can take away from this debate? Any insights that can help us make sense of these seemingly opposing views?
I think the most important takeaway is that both sides, despite their differences, share a deep respect for the Bible. They're both seeking to unlock its wisdom.
Right.
Just approaching it from different angles.
So it's not about choosing one side over the other. Maybe it's about finding a way to honor both perspectives.
Exactly. What if instead of seeing these viewpoints as mutually exclusive, we recognize that they can actually complement each other?
Okay.
what if we embrace both the historical and the metaphysical dimensions of the Bible?
Okay, I like where you're going with this. How would that work in practice? Yeah. How can we hold both of these perspectives simultaneously?
It starts with acknowledging that the Bible can operate on multiple levels. Okay. We can appreciate the historical context, the moral teachings, and the social messages, while also being open to the symbolic language and the psychological insights.
So instead of limiting ourselves to one interpretation, we're adding layers of understanding, enriching our experience of the text.
Precisely. Think about the Exodus story.
Okay.
We can appreciate it as a historical account of liberation, while also recognizing its potential to inspire us on our own journeys of breaking free from inner limitations. Or consider Jesus. We can see him as a real historical figure, while also recognizing him as a symbol of the divine within us.
That makes a lot of sense. We're not forced to choose one interpretation over the other. We can embrace the richness and complexity of the Bible.
Yes.
Allowing both the historical and the metaphysical to inform our understanding.
And in doing so, we discover that the Bible can speak to us on a deeply personal level, while also connecting us to a broader human story that spans centuries and cultures. It's a truly remarkable text.
This deep dive has definitely shifted my perspective. Yeah. I feel like I have a new set of lenses through which to view the Bible. Lenses that allow me to see both its historical weight and its timeless wisdom.
And that's what we hope to achieve with every deep dive. To inspire a sense of curiosity, to challenge assumptions, and to ultimately help you engage with these important topics in a more meaningful way.
So deep divers, as we wrap up this episode, we leave you with this final thought. The true power of the Bible may lie not in choosing one interpretation, but in embracing the multiplicity of meanings it offers.
Absolutely.
Ask yourself, how does the Bible speak to you both personally and in the context of the world around you?
That's right.
We encourage you to continue exploring this fascinating text and discovering its endless depths.
Until next time, keep diving deep.